All right, hello, wine drinking people. Today is Tuesday, April 12th, and getting ready for a full week of drinking here with the Great Wine Seminar coming up this weekend. So we are going to have lots to talk about. What I drank yesterday, part of the show here, which is let's get started with the Alex Gambal tasting. Last Friday night here at the store, we had a sold-out group here for Alex's Wines. This is an annual event. Alex, a good friend, originally from the D.C. area, and moved to Burgundy to work with Becky Wasserman in the early 90s, and then founded his own negociant firm there. One of the few Americans that is actively a negociant in Burgundy. Actually, we had the other one, Pierre-Antoine Rovani, in yesterday, up next on the What I Had to Drink yesterday. But Alex really has made a name, quite a name for himself in the last few years. If you look at the scores the last couple years in the Berghound and the Spectator, he's receiving some of the top scores of anybody from Burgundy, and some fabulous wines. 07 and 08, you know, kind of a difficult sell. 07 was more highly touted for the whites than the reds, and 08's somewhat been overlooked, you know. And the more wines I taste from 08, the more I start to think, man, this is going to be the vintage for value. You know, everyone is anticipating the 09 vintage, which is great, possibly the greatest vintage ever for red wine in Burgundy. I don't know, several people have made those statements. White wine, not so much. I mean, if you like California whites, it's going to be very forward. The 08 vintage is what you want to look for in whites. 07 also very good, but the focus of our Tasting Friday was to pit the 07 vintage versus the 08 to see the difference. And these are pretty similar growing seasons, you know, cooler years, and the race against, you know, the rain at harvest time. But great producers usually will not let you down in Burgundy. And 07, and vintage just means when you want to drink these wines. And 07, 08, both of them I don't think are going to be more younger drinking vintages. I don't think they're going to be vintages for long-term cellaring. 08 kind of edged out the 09s in this tasting for most people, with the Chassagne Montrachet being what we started with, and then Polini Montrachet, two of the greatest villages for white wines in all of Burgundy. Some people would argue Polini the greatest, since it contains 2 of the 6 Grand Cru for whites in their entirety. Chevalier Montrachet and Batard Montrachet, and then Chevalier Montrachet has, or Chassagne Montrachet has the other Grand Crus located in that, and then you know, Le Montrachet is shared by, or Montrachet shared by Chassagne and Polini, kind of straddles both of those appellations. But the 08 Chassagne was a lot of people's favorite wine of the night, and Chassagne, to me, tends to show a little better, maybe a little more forward, a little more seductive when it's young. And this 08 Chassagne Montrachet from Gambal, just a touch more concentration than the 07, and a little brighter acidity, maybe a little more acidity. The 07s tend to be really forward and fleshy. The 08s maybe have a little longer finish on them. Polini Montrachet from Gambal, you know, the 08, one of my favorite wines of the night. The 07 was pretty good also, though, maybe just a little bit more forward. The 08 Polini really showing a distinct minerality to it, and this wine definitely needed a little time, but all 4 whites really showed exceptionally well. And the red wines, Chambolle-Musigny being one of my favorite village wines, and 07 more savory, and the 08 seemed to have a little bit more stuffing to it, but Chambolle is light and pretty anyways, very light in color and pretty, and although pretty complex in terms of flavors, the tannins very soft, very round, very approachable. Maybe this is why it's one of my favorite of all the village wines. And it does contain Musigny in this village, one of the greatest wines made in Burgundy. We're going to be tasting George Comte de Vogüé's Musigny, going back several years of the Great Wine Seminar this weekend. Unfortunately, I believe that have been sold out. If any of you have not made reservations and would like to come, I don't know if we can fit you in, unless you got like 10 friends that you like to bring with you. Anyways, the Clos Vougeot, Clos Vougeot being the largest Grand Cru in the Côte de Nuit, and sometimes you get some very inferior wines from Clos Vougeot, some very not so grand wines. The 07 vintage again showed a little bit more savory. 08 showed a bit more stuffing and a bit more length on the finish, and these wines still quite tannic. Grand Cru Burgundy at this age. Clos Vougeot, you know, as I mentioned before, it's a big vineyard and it kind of slopes up, and the best vineyards are the ones up to the top, because the ones on the bottom in years when it rains like 07, 08, you have a drainage issue, and you could have some mold problems down there. But Alex has got one of the best partials up on the upper slope here, and is making some of the best Clos Vougeot, I believe, coming out of Burgundy today. And his 08, exceptional. I cannot wait to try the 09s. And hey, What do you get when you get a good buddy like Alex? You can get whatever the heck you want when a great vintage comes out like '09, and we have got an incredible selection of Magnums from Alex. Check it out on today's offer. I've included all of the '09s that we have coming in from Alex on this. They'll be in the fall. If you're interested in them, you don't have to pay now. Just let me know what you like. We'll write down the orders, and we'll fill them as they come in and charge you when they arrive in the fall. All right, folks, check it out on this offer. Okay, coming up next is Pierre Antoine Ravani from Moissonnet.